Hey, welcome in, cuties. Have a nice evening. And, well, I guess I'm gonna have to probably repeat this many times today, but it might be a legit rebrand. It's not a rebrand that I chose to do, but I've got reported by some angry scammer for calling him out in chat. And that angry sir reported me to Twitch, and Twitch forced me to change my nickname to log into my account again. By now, they have actually accepted my appeal, so they are saying they made a mistake and my name would have been fine. But since I had to change it, I'm now on a 2 month cooldown to change it back. So this might actually be a permanent rebrand. I have not entirely decided yet, to be honest. I guess in general it's not horrible for us to measure a bit and still be a little cheeky, but not as degenerate as we've been before anymore. Yeah, I was literally confused because dealing with Twitch is slightly frustrating, let's say it carefully that way. If you don't really try hard to reach a human in that company, it's very hard to reach a human, and you pretty much only deal with automated AI responses. So yeah, it's been a stressy week due to that. And I did not manage to stream as well due to this happening. Usually I try to, sorry for my frames, I have to zoom out and look at my entire map real quick. That usually helps my frames. But yeah, I mean, it was a bit unfortunate. Definitely surprised when I've gotten into that. Really? That's so curious that they rejected your emote. For me, it's been super interesting. I had emotes that I uploaded, they took forever to verify. The last emote I uploaded is literally a knife with some kind of brown splatter on top of it, and that gotten immediately accepted. This all seems very random, but I'm sure I'll have to go about this many times today, so let's use a quick moment to show you guys what we done off stream. In general, recently off stream I spent quite a bit of time in this area, because I know the way I play and going over everything is generally a bit blunt, because I just stare at my screen a lot and slowly scroll through, find it, and look at buildings, and then delete buildings and move them around. A lot of this is still up in the air, but we're slowly getting towards a point where the last single bit of bigger area of Los Vagos, we surely will have some small expansion afterwards, but is taking shape. In fact, some of these are kinda finished. I've done this a while ago, the legendary target build that I've shown you guys before. I built this entire cute warehouse off stream, because I don't think it's that exciting. I think the result of this got very cute. In fact, Elgendo, you can tell I've been going crazy with your new decals here as well, because I love your new stains, and they are absolutely 10 out of 10 for this. But yeah, we went through and made this entire Amazon warehouse. Obviously, we have Gaga's Booty Riders, the scooter club in the city. And the scooter club is up to no good. I'm not exactly sure what is happening here, but they're stealing some kind of packages at the Amazon warehouse. I'm not saying maybe the Amazon logo on top of this warehouse is just a facade for Gaga's sketchy businesses in Los Vagos, but he pays me off well. I am a cheeky major, and I'm grateful about the financial bonus Gaga is paying me, so I'm not gonna ask any question, but definitely a bit weird. Not saying anything weird about it, but kinda weird. And then we built out this. This definitely does need decal work. We only did the actual kind of detailing part of this. I guess so. Maybe he's trying to get a delivery gig. Maybe he's doing even more sketchy things. Who am I to ask? I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. But maybe Gaga is gonna tune in today and we can ask him himself. And then we lay out this cinema here, which I'm actually quite proud of the layout of these passes, because the cinema itself, if you plop it down, comes with some of those passes and kinda inspired me to just continue their layout in a bigger scale. And I think, again, we're missing all decal work here and the road is not properly styled yet. But we're making some slow progress in this area. I do think generally this is gonna turn out pretty cute. And then in the back here, we built this walkway because we have a very big area here where people can't really access into. So we've gotten this shortcut here for people to walk through. That indeed does sound like something Gaga's scooter gang would be involved in Poplar. I agree. That very much seems to fit the vibe. But yeah, I actually did quite a lot of things. Some of them are pretty unnoticeable, but I cleaned up the road slightly here as well, next to our bus station terminal, because we did have some pathfinding issues where I was not entirely sure why, and I was not able to fix them, so I had to redraw all these roads here, which does not sound like that much effort, but then keep in mind for that I had to remove all of the decals and all of the net lanes and everything and then redraw this, so this was quite a bit of work. It looks pretty much exactly like it did before, so a lot of work for nothing. But now the passing of our buses is a lot smoother and more gentle, so now I can look at our bus terminal and actually be happy about it. Before, I loved the way it looked, but then I couldn't really be happy about it because we had those pathfinding issues. And they are finally passed. And then in this area, a lot of this is just playing around with what kind of assets we can use. We made a lot of weird splices and morphs. I'm starting to be pretty satisfied in general with the style of this area, because I really, when we look at the vanilla industry, what I think is the biggest problem with the vanilla industry is that those buildings are too small. It's not really giving proper industrial vibes due to the buildings being such small scale. I think especially this morph here, which I don't even know what buildings this is. This is from the Japanese school, this is from the Japanese university, and this is a sport parks complex. But together, I think these make an absolutely beautiful unit with partly some office in there or some maintenance work, and then in general these others. So very happy about this. And finally, I've been looking at this thing a ton. I know this is a school, but ever since we have the static plopper bells of this high school, I do think this looks like a factory complex a lot. So again, layout of this and everything is very unclear, but we're slowly starting to figure out this area so we can dive into it properly. The main part that we figured for now, and that I'm actually pretty goddamn happy with. No worries, Elgano. But yeah, the main part that I'm actually super happy with, the layout for now, is this. And it's not the most logical spot for this. I'm totally gonna agree with you guys that this should be elsewhere. But we're gonna turn this into a very cute truck stop eventually. I already started. Like this, I would say, is pretty much detailed. Again, missing decal work a little, but getting close. And then this is a first try and how I imagine these parking lots to look. Obviously, when we are done detailing, it's gonna be a lot less clean than it is here. But I think this is very fitting, to be honest, because in general, Los Vagos has pretty cheap and rough infrastructure. Because we're in the US, our public transport is not great, nothing is great. The one thing that we are gonna go hard on is car infrastructure beside roads, because we can't afford asphalt. But our parking lots are holy territory for us, because we are the country of freedom and big automobiles, I guess. So this is an effort on trying how we can work this out. This is going to be a lot of work and is going to be a lot of dragging out surfaces. We are probably going to go in and detail the mine for now. I just wanted to give a bit of an update on what we did. We're going to actually go back to the warehouse now. Gaga is here in a moment. The one last thing I wanted to show as well, and I'm not happy with how these roads are looking and anything like that, but I love it. Fragen made these beautiful tunnels, and yes, this is not perfectly worked in yet. We'll get to that in future. But this space is so goddamn perfect for us to build a tunnel in, and we can actually cheat, at least for now, till our infrastructure is properly routed out. I'm literally just using this tunnel as a shortcut to route up into the city here. For some people to skip and split the traffic a bit. We are obviously gonna use that for something more sensible in future, but as a try for now, I found this very nice. And then again, in general, we worked out this area a lot more when we got in the assets, the Dutch assets. I already told you guys that I think this looks like 10 out of 10 car dealership. I layouted the car dealership here. This build is gonna be the easiest build we've done in a while, because these buildings, they just scream car dealership at me without any work at all, right? We're gonna fill cars in here and obviously gonna detail this out nicely. But just this, I love it. It's so American for me to enter the city and the very first thing you see is a car dealership. So looking forward to working this out a lot. I've prepared a lot of builds while not being able to stream due to the Twitch nonsense. So yeah, here, this is one we prepared, and in general, the road layout is very close to being locked in. The one part I'm very insecure about is this upper part here, but everything above this road here, I would say, is locked in road layout wise. Then the buildings, we are gonna have a look over them, but generally super nice. And again, these also from the Dutch pack a bit lowered into the ground. But this to me is a super nice factory complex that I've always been looking for. And in general, I don't know what it is in this game. Many of the schools just look like a factory to me. This is a British school, I believe. And at least to me, this screams factory. I'd be curious if you guys agree. And how are all of you cuties doing today? Sorry, I was just ranting, trying to get through over what we did, but how are you cutie doing today, Gaga? I'm gonna have to show you something. I just showed Poplar and Elgendo already, and I showed you a small screenshot of it, but I made a cute build that is involved in your scooter crimes, and I need some answers on what you did. But yeah, I think actually we have to recolor these a bit better. I tried already, the tone is not perfectly fitted, but I also think these Dutch assets together with this school, they work perfectly well together. They actually help us bring this even more into the kind of factory vibe, because I think this looks very factory-like. And this also does, but then people know the school, so they're gonna look at this and think it's a school. Together, I think it works very well. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to go about this a lot today, but just to fill you in real quick, this is not a not a new username by choice. I quite like the new username, but I've got prompted by Twitch to change username because they say I had a sexual display name, which by now they say they made a mistake and Booty Addict would be perfectly fine. But by now I had to change my nickname, so we're stuck for this for 2 months, and probably we're gonna just stay with this forever and use this as an opportunity to measure at least a little bit. We're never gonna be proper grown-ups, but a little bit at least. And yes, here is what I want to show Gaga again, what we just went over, because I built out this very cute Amazon warehouse, which I actually think turned out very, very cute. Pretty much similar to a lot of the industry we built already, but we have nice Amazon decals in the game, so this was fairly easy and quick to pull off. Especially together with these amazing... actually, the more I use those, the more I love these Elgando industrial signs. But then Gaga, what is this? Why is your scooter gang here? And what are they doing? Why are they trying to steal the packages? I mean, yes, you do have a point, but then also, I do want the appeal against Twitch, right? Like, even Booty Addict now would be fine as a name again. That was just because their automated system went through when some angry person reported me. But by now, my appeal is fine, and I could rename as Booty Addict, so it's not really an issue. Again, like not a choice we made. I don't hate the new nickname. I don't hate the new branding either. If we really have to stay for this for 2 months, then I don't see a reason for us to rename back, right? Because yeah, I don't know, if we're 2 months on a new nickname, then whatever. But it is rough for sure. And yeah, this is what we built the last time. I finished a very few things here in that left side. What I'm mainly very proud about, what I think I built off stream, is this, which I don't exactly know what it's supposed to be, but I love it. I think it's super cute. It's some weird religious altar, I guess, for people to pray to, which I do think fits perfectly fine in this. In general, I have to say, one of the things I did not do so much in this game yet is working with different terrains and working in levels of terrain. I'm starting to be a bit less shit on it. We built this last stream and built in this small walkway here. And then we built this walkway in here. We're slowly getting to a point where this is very appropriate. Sadly, I forgot one thing I realized right now, because I asked Jay for something very simple to build for me. Jay built us a nice railing that I wished for. That's a combination out of the power rails or the power line cables and the dog pole. That will look very nice up here. Sadly, I forgot to add it to my game, so that's not something we can do today. But yeah, otherwise, I'm starting to really like this. I think this part here as well turned out great. What I'm not yet sure about is this small walkway that we built in here. Logically, right now, there is no way for these people to access their house outside of this cargo elevator, which I don't think is optimal, so they've gotten this walkway. I'm not sure if I love it visually. I'd be curious what you guys think about it. Again, I'm not entirely sold on it yet. I think it's kinda cute, especially because we took the extra effort to build some custom, like, I don't even know how to call this, but a holding construction below it. But I'm not sure. This might be Colombian music. I'm happy my girlfriend is out today because my girlfriend is Colombian, and if I say I don't know if this is Colombian music or not, I might be in trouble. This is from the soundtrack of Tropico. One of my favorite playlists for streaming is the entire Tropico soundtrack, literally just thrown into one playlist. And yeah, this is what we're listening today. So it's from one of the Tropico games. And here, real quick, I want to add some decal, because I built a decal here that we have not yet used. So I want to go in really quick and throw this on, because once we go in this area with decals everywhere, it's going to be a lot harder for us to touch anything. So instead of waiting too long and getting into issues later, I think we should just go ahead and do this right away. And then I can see already that this is the wrong way. Hold on, we need to flip this 180. Then we also don't need to flip the side, but yeah, it's nothing special. It's just this saloon logo, because I imagine this to have been a saloon. Obviously, I will probably have to go in later and adjust the saturation and vibrance of this a little, but I hope we can work with this for now. Not entirely sure where we want this. Maybe we actually want this here in front of the roof as an external sign. Yeah, Jordan, you're one of the reasons for my name change without you even knowing it. Oh, Jordan is the chat in which I think I've eaten the ban. Because you remember, Jordan, when you streamed in either Monday or Sunday, and you were streaming, and there was one of those very obvious Twitch scammers in your chat who kept sweet talking you about how amazing at Twitch you are and that you should really join his Discord so he can network for you and connect you to gigantic streamers. Very typical Twitch scammer behavior. And I said, hey, good day, Mr. Streamer, or something. Some very innocent latch out to him. 20 minutes later, my account was not banned, but I was prompted to change my nickname on the next join. Because I've got reported for having a sexual nickname, and I'm 90% sure that has been that salty scammer in your chat. Because in the reasoning, it literally says that the place where I've eaten my ban has been in somebody's chat, so yeah, fairly convinced with that. That's not your fault at all, I'm obviously kidding, that's nobody's fault, that's Twitch's fault. And again, by now they also say that they agree that they made a mistake and my nickname is unproblematic, so Booty Addict would be fine. But they cannot change that I have to wait over 2 months, or I think exactly 2 months, to change my account back. So I believe we're probably just gonna stay with what we have right now. And we're not gonna do this too much here, but as always, you see me do this many times. We're just building this to give this some thickness. So now we move this in place. Now we can use this as an offset. So we're gonna save this as an XML and call this saloon underscore offset. And now we just have to re-import this thing over and over as child. Which not very interesting, or is it? Am I blind? There we go. And now the only thing is you have to do is go on the lowest child again, go on it, find a saloon, import, go on the lowest child, and you can see how it's slowly getting deeper. I think we're gonna be lazy
I'm legally blind.
and already accept that we're on this on this one, to be honest. Because this is a gold rush town. That's the only reason. Also, now you're here, Jay. I have to make an admission. I sadly forgot. I asked you earlier today if you could be so nice to send me the fences I asked you for, and you were nice and friendly as always and sent me those fences. But then you have done a mistake, and that mistake is you're dealing with somebody who is of limited mental capacity, aka me. So I forgot to add it to my game. So we are not gonna use those fences today, but the next time instead. And again, probably I'll change the saturation of this. I think this is quite a bit too strong. But otherwise, I like it. Does what it's supposed to. Doesn't look perfect with the depth, as everything right everywhere the depth is just an illusion. But it works pretty well up until we can't properly see the sign anymore anyways. So we're perfectly happy with this, really. Yeah, indeed scandalous. I'm also butthurt about it, but it is what it is. I can't reload my game while streaming, so we will have to live without it today. But yeah, I agree with you. Indeed scandalous. Because they would have looked cute if I would have remembered to add them, then that would have been perfect to use today. But yeah, we're probably gonna spend the majority of our time in this very small area, because it's really the only part of this mine that fully needs working on. All of these houses up here need proper details. I think we're gonna leave all of them abandoned. So it's not like we need super much residential detailing, but I do want to turn these into proper abandoned houses with dirt and crutch and everything. So before I keep talking long over nothing, let's dive right in and start with this house up here. We have little space, so we're not going to do very much. I just want to have a few props to be able to show this is abandoned, right? Because if we take some of these chairs here and we kick them over or something, then we will probably be able to tell it. Yeah, it is a forced new me indeed. But I guess I know that I never intended to make Booty Addict a nickname for streaming. I think it's a horrible, degenerate nickname for streaming. I just did not know I was ever gonna stream, and we kinda accidentally stumbled into it, so maybe it's for the best anyways. But obviously it's totally fair to not hate the rebrand, but I think old me was annoying. New me is probably similarly annoying, so really everything as it was before, I'm still annoying, and you guys still have to live with it. Can we manage to get this? This tone is a lot better. And now with everything here to make very obvious that it's abandoned, and this is gonna be a bit tiring, but we have to suffer through it. We wanna slightly angle stuff and make it weird and wobbly, so this really does not look like it's taken care of anymore. Don't want to go overboard, so something like this is fine already. But yes, it's gonna be a lot of rotation today. Yeah, I don't know. I'll miss Booty as well. As silly as that nickname is, by now I kinda started to hate it a bit less. At least it made for a good moment when getting into somebody's chat, because I very rarely have a situation where somebody doesn't react surprised over that nickname, so that's past, I guess, but could be worse, really. But yes, I cannot imagine one of the things that I keep thinking while this, imagine Twitch is not just some fun thing you do when you're bored without really having anything of it. Imagine this is your day job and you wake up one morning and you cannot reach a human for the first 3 days because all you do is talk to AI. It seems horrible. I feel sorry for everybody who's a full-time streamer having to deal with something like this. Okay, this seems appropriate, and then this one will kick over sideways. This last one can stay the way it is. See, that's also the reasoning I gave into my appeal, that again, my appeal gotten approved, right? So Booty Addict would be totally accepted as nickname. It's just that by now I kinda rebranded and they cannot allow me to change back for the next 2 months. So by then, it's been so long, we're probably just gonna stay with it. But yes, I also argued it's a loot-related nickname that has nothing worth about it. To which they agreed with me. And no, we've not been talking about you, Sunny, but I have good news for you, Sunny, because I spent a lot of the early moments in stream talking about how we're making slow progress with the layout of the city, and we are making slow progress with the layout of the city. I'm gonna go over it real quick again, and we're gonna go back here because I don't want to bore you guys too much. But this part of the city, which is pretty much the last part of the city, has seen quite a lot of off-screen progress. Not really detailed yet, besides small starts of it. But the layout is starting to be very much in shape, which means once this part is fully laid outed, we are gonna have an entire stream doing nothing but placing down electricity poles. Because there's a lot of areas in the city, especially I believe starting here, where we don't properly have running electricity lines yet. So I'm fairly sure if there is a stream you're gonna watch without your pants on, it's gonna be that stream, because I know you love electricity poles. So it's gonna be an exciting stream for you, is all I'm gonna say. And I do think this nearly already is enough. The one thing I would like to have here as well is this, and it's a... We can argue about how realistic this is, that this barrel is burning, because obviously that's not super realistic. Do we care and we think visually this gives a nice impression? Yes, absolutely. So we're gonna put that barrel down there. And now, again, the biggest part to make very obvious that this is a rundown, broken old house is decal work. So we're gonna go into Elgando's amazing stains. This is a nice preview for people as well. Elgando made some more stains that are not yet updated in the public version, and it's these small ones here that are an absolute game changer. They allow you to really detailed with a lot of control, get some grunge into those houses. I love these. They are so much more flexible than what we had in the past. That is an absolute joy to dirty up houses with these. If I could manage to place this correctly, there we go. Because it's really quick, and then afterwards we can use the same layering we always used. But it is what it is. And I know you're just joking, but I've had to explain it many times already. Yes, we're MayorCheeks now, not because we wanna be, just because Twitch is a sensitive US company that doesn't even disagree with their ban anymore or with their nickname change, but it is what it is. What do you guys think of the logo I made? It's nothing amazing. I had like less than 24 hours to come up with something. So it's not amazing, but I'm happy enough at least. Yeah, I've heard that, I've read that. I didn't really. Actually, Elgando, gladly educate me a little, because for anybody who's unaware, there has been a discussion. I've seen it very shortly, but not properly, that most likely we're gonna have an extra detailing tools or extra assets importer. I can't pronounce it, so we're just gonna do it this way. Update soon that might actually have consequences for some of the packs in game currently. I believe it's just for the ones with a new importer, right? Which is very little so far, if I'm not mistaken. But Elgando probably knows better than me, so can educate us. Yeah, I know. Many people said that already. I actually don't think it's that similar, besides being a brush font and both being MC, which, well, is just a name I've chosen. So I can live with it. It's not too bad. We love making fun of the US anyway, so some US parody in our logo won't hurt. Curious that it's a color. Maybe I should think about other colors then. You can educate me. I've just scrolled over it. I didn't properly get to read all of it. I believe the update is generally not super exciting to anybody, but it's gonna have nice consequences. Mainly, it's that Triton is gonna compress the packs differently. What for somebody who works very cleanly and makes sure all of us have good pack sizes and everything, like Elgando, won't make any difference. Same goes for me. None of my packs are impacted by this. But then especially for not very well optimized packs, the new update is gonna be quite noticeable in file size, because it's gonna compress the images different, because a game can only show up to 8-bit colors, right? But many people are providing their files in 16 or 32 bits. So there is a lot of overhead happening that is not even used by the game, right? It's a lot of file size for literally no usability or change. And Triton made it in a way where these are getting converted to 8-bit while building in future, which is gonna have nice effects file size wise for people. Yeah, exactly. Like, to be honest, for something like that, it might change. Because yeah, those packs will be a lot. Well, hold on. I need to explain this, because the part that is changing is not the pack size itself. That pack is still gonna be 5 gigabytes, right? Nothing is gonna change. That pack is gonna be exactly like it's been before. What changes is the amount of juice that pack needs in your game, right? Because the prefabs that are generated, they are using a lot less information, so they will become smaller. So even if the pack is big, it's obviously still gonna be big on your hard drive, but then in game, it's gonna be noticeably lighter for you. So yes, for those very big packs, for example the farming one, this is gonna make a difference. What I've not seen Triton mention, what I'm a bit sad about, because it's the part that I'm actually the most interested in from the update, is the cursor filter, where finally we can hopefully in future change the cursor to only work on specific assets, like only decals or only buildings or only whatever category you choose in that moment. And that for me would be very exciting news, because with the amount of decals we have in our build quite regularly, stuff is not really usable for us anymore, so unfortunate. And yes, Friedrich, I did again. I'm sorry. Today is gonna be a bit annoying, but I will have to explain this over and over again. I did get prompted by Twitch to change nickname because of sexual nickname. By now, they reverted their decision, so I could call myself Booty Addict again. But there is a 20 or a 2 months cooldown on renaming yourself on Twitch. So by now we're stuck with this for 2 months, so probably we're gonna stay MayorCheeks forever. But the reason we renamed is not that I wanted to rebrand or rename. The reason we did this is that Twitch mistakenly punished me for sexual username. Yeah, well, it's gonna be memories still. You guys can, in 50 years, you guys can tell your grandkids, I knew MayorCheeks when he was still called Booty Addict, and they're gonna be like, yeah, sure, old man. You guys know it's true, and I will know it's true, so at least something, I guess. It's Major, of course. That word always confuses me, because not only is it different, the meaning different, but it's also different in British and the US, so I mean, make it whatever you want. I don't mind either of the meanings, but yeah, it's meant to be major. Or mayor, I guess. See, this is a tricky question as well, because my English is not my first language, as you all know. So I will end up mispronouncing my own name, because my English is not the yellow from the egg. I mean, MayorCheeks is close enough. Maybe we can take that in future. But I actually don't hate the mayor part, because it at least brings us belonging into the city builder landscape a bit more, which most likely, while I do play other games, will be the only thing that I ever actively play on Twitch. So I quite like it. Oh, and yeah, here, this is also something we did. On this one, obviously, I should invert the mines to be white, so I need to retouch this. But I did go in and place the logo in a few areas as well up here. This is one of the few things that I kinda detailed out. Not fully, as you guys can clearly see. This side is all dirtied up and fully decaled up. This is not yet. Otherwise, I think this is pretty much detailed out. What is quite nice about this being abandoned is that we don't have to plop any sims. Generally, we spend a lot of time plopping down sims, but since this is abandoned, no need for us to place sims, which is gonna make this build a lot quicker than it would otherwise have been. And honestly, I think this already is good enough. We probably should do a little more plant work around it. But I don't think these huts need anything special or major. I just want them to look properly abandoned. So mainly some overgrownness and then a bit more proper foliage, because this used to be housed in the past, just isn't anymore. And because it's abandoned, I even like putting some vegetation on top of the passes. And I'm sure some of you are in the TDW Discord. TDW, who, as most of us know, if not, then here is the info for you, works for PDX or Paradox since a while. He's got hired, I believe, at the end of last year. And TDW keeps spoiling that something exciting is gonna happen this week. So maybe something exciting is gonna happen this week. As with everything, it's TDW related. So might be PDX mods, might be game update, might be Skype update. But something of those three things should maybe happen sometime this week if he's not just debating us, which he might very well be, but otherwise maybe. Well, yes, but obviously, see, here comes the twist. Since you're right, Paradox is only the publisher, but they are the ones publishing the DLCs, right? Colossal Order said we finished Bridges and Ports, and we are done with it. Now we're just waiting for PDX to publish it, or Paradox to publish it. So yes and no. Generally, you're correct, but PDX definitely is involved with game updates if they're DLC related. So in this case, it could actually also be meaning the DLC. Yes, maybe we can even, while we're at it, go in here, because we did all of the annoying ground vegetation with the little layers, but we did none of the bigger ones. Maybe while we're at it, we should go in and do a lot of the vegetation here, because in all honesty, since this is abandoned, I don't plan on doing super much detailed work. Yes, we will go in with some slide props down here as well. But the absolute majority of this is just gonna be overgrown plants, so I guess we should get that down somewhat early. Well, I don't think anybody... Well, actually, I need to retweet that, because I know that Bad Peanut is following me, but I don't think anybody outside of Bad Peanut knows of my existence at either a Colossal Order or Paradox. Well, I guess TDW knows I exist, so he knows, but outside of that, I doubt that any of them has ever heard my name. I don't even know. I find it a very interesting question if I would even like to have early access in this game. Because I do think I very much like being surprised by things and being excited when new content drops and everything. So not even sure if, even if they would ask me, what they never will, but even if they would ask me, I'm not sure if I'd like it. I'm sure Sunny can push for it not only having plus sides, having NDA, or I know as well that Moose has been very vocal in the past of NDA being a very double-edged sword sometimes. Honestly, with how overgrown this is, we do need even more ground vegetation here. It looks a lot already, and it is a lot, but we do really want this to be a kinda green overgrown paradise. Well, yeah, see, and that is something you cannot have, Wolf. So I'm not sure, because yeah, it does spoil the surprise. And I actually, I don't take it too serious. I don't care. Whatever comes when it comes is there, and then maybe we like it, maybe we don't. But I think it's fun guessing around a bit on what's coming when and what's gonna change without it being very relevant. And yeah, you obviously lose that with the NDAs as soon as you have them. And I also have to be honest, I don't fully understand how the NDA works. From the little I've known, there is different early access for the modders on the content creators, which I don't know how they would behave differently, but I believe there is 2 different EA groups depending on if you're EA because you make big code mods or if you are EA because you're a big content creator. Yeah, see, I actually wholeheartedly love spectating or speculating, I should say, about this. And yeah, it would be a bit buttered, I think, if I had an NDA and I couldn't guess around anymore. Then I probably would be, because I love bullying people, just like Sunny loved bullying me. I would probably do exactly the same as you did, and while not being able to speculate anymore, I would at least be able to gaslight and tease people with the knowledge I have without giving anything away. And that does seem fun as well, as somebody who's into bullying people I like. So that's a nice part. Really, are you, Elgando? Because I always was surprised that you aren't. I always thought you aren't. But then I guess that's just me thinking incorrectly and you are. I did not know that. Curious. Yeah, again, a lot of this would be speculation, which I just said I like, so that's not gonna stop us. But from the little I know, I believe it's literally just a Discord server, so it probably also depends on how close you are with the people on the Discord server and how much you actually involve and communicate yourself to how involved you are in the NDA itself. But yeah, that's actually sad. Not because I think it is super relevant that they listen to everything Elgando has to say, but more of a sign of appreciation. You've made so many mods with so many subscribers for their game that I think alone for that reason you would deserve to get an answer. Am I being silly here? Is Elgano making a joke that I'm not getting? I guess so. Which is not surprising. I'm silly, but I'm not getting it, and I'm still not getting it, even though you're kind of pointing it out to me. See, I'm a bit unclear because what else can we do? What does an abandoned house still have many years after being left behind? Beside then a table and a chair and maybe a bench or anything. Because what we did here, what I think is a cute detail, I don't think we can really get away with, because this is still used, even though very untaken care of, so this can have laundry. But I'm not sure. Oh god damn it. Elgando! Go into the shame corner for 5 minutes. That was not funny, and I'm German. I know nothing about humor. I'm not allowed to be funny according to my DNA. You cannot do any worse job than me at humor. And it seems random, the placement we do here, but it's not super random. I'm trying to keep a variation, but then generally have somewhat similar margins between them. So we roughly keep a similar density in these areas. We want it a bit more dense here in the bottom where it's fully overgrown, and then on the hillside itself we want it a bit more sparsely. Part of this is due to how the game works. I would be totally happy working with less green plants. The issue is all of the dead plants have very bad LODs, so as soon as you zoom out further than this, you don't see them anymore, right? You guys can literally see it in stream, how they're disappearing. So if we don't want anything to look super blunt and boring, once we zoom out, we have to work with not only dead plants, because only the dead plants sadly will just hide themselves, which I hope is something they might address in future. But then, to be honest, I don't think it's a coincidence that many people say they have a lot less crashes and their game runs a lot smoother in the same patch where they made quite a few of the LODs look uglier and worse than they did before and started hiding some of them earlier. Yeah, sadly, that does make the game run better because it's less taxing, which I'm sure could be solved through optimizing the game better as well. But if they can't manage to optimize the game better, then I guess just turning the quality down on some models already has a good performance impact as well. I don't like those, to be honest. Yes, I like those for the flexibility it gives me, but I actually do like, because these do something in the game, right? There is a difference fundamentally in how prop plants and these plants interact with the game and with the simulation. So visually the prop plants are fine, but then I don't think I want to recolor very much beside bushes, and just for that I don't really care enough, to be quite frank. Yeah, I know, I can recolor better, but I don't mind so much, honestly. I think I'm quite happy with the colors we're having in those in the build. While it's not super realistic how green some of our world gets because we're in the desert, we don't care that much about realism, so it could be worse for me. Yeah, see, I recolor everything in this build. If the more I add that I can recolor, the less progress we will be making. Honestly, this looks pretty solid already. Here we have a lot too little ground vegetation. Here this is a lot more overgrown, so we definitely need to add some more of the dead grass in this back area. And we need to definitely go in here as well with some more, not many props, but especially the old barrel I think is a nice prop for this area, and some similar things like that. Was it CPP? Yeah, it's in my channel. If somebody has a gifted sub, the biggest chance is it's either been City Planner or it's been Clovis. Clovis with a big difference, but both of those are the biggest financial supporters here. And welcome back, Wolf. But yeah, what I said right when you said you're getting an ad is that I think I'll get overwhelmed eventually if I add more and more things that I can manually adjust. Eventually the choice is gonna backfire on me because I'm gonna be overwhelmed from it. So I'm not too mad that I don't have the prop vegetation. I thought about it a few times. What I would actually be more interested in, but then I have so many things that I have too little time for. But I think the visuals I want would be the best if I would get some different combinations out of decals and vegetation, right? Because let me show you something, Wolf. If we take some of these plants we're always using, this is our go-to, but again, we have to limit the amount of effort we put in some small areas as well. I'm never gonna be lazy, I'm never gonna be shy putting effort, but at some point it becomes a bit of a time management game as well. But if we just put down a cluster like this here, if the day had 48 hours and not only 24, this is how we would work in our vegetation. We would make decals that are exclusively working on vegetation. Then you take a cluster like this, which looks very similar to what I do, right? And then what we would do is use decals that work on plants. And now look at how this looks if we put them in the right distance. This is how I'd like my plants all to look. The problem is I'm too lazy to do this to all of my plants. This would be the optimum, because look at this. I love the visuals of this. We do this sometimes, rarely, because I do think it's a bit overkill for what it is. Does it look a lot better than the vegetation we're using? Totally. If you're super motivated, this is a great technique
That's cute.
allows you to get very pretty vegetation. I personally am too lazy to do this, so I won't.
I wish we had a cactus.
But this would definitely be better. And I also wish we had a cactus, then we would not have this entire problem of having to even think about word solutions like this, because we would just use a cactus instead. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, again, I don't mind putting effort into things. We're building on this part of the build for over a month now. I think nearing 1.5 months, so I don't have a problem with slow progress, but again, I don't think the vegetation is such a big bummer to me. Yes, I mean, there is a reason that is a sound on my channel. I will never disagree with anybody telling me we're missing a cactus, because yes, we very much are missing a cactus. In fact, is one thing that I hope about every single time somebody says we're getting new content for the game. The one content I want for the game that I would actually massively care about is a cactus. Else, I don't mind so much. Really, I think the thing I mind the most by now is the lack of prop variety. Not buildings, not any. We have too little props. We need more props in this game. Especially industrial props. Okay, good enough. I don't want to turn this into some tropical jungle, which we kinda already did a little. The only thing I still want to do here is add some more overgrownness inside of the passing as well. Sunny just likes to tease me. Don't, Wolf, if there is one thing, I love Sunny. But if there is one thing I can tell you as somebody who likes Sunny and interacts with him sometimes, don't trust him, don't believe him. This man is as much as a bully as me. He just enjoys teasing you. And I understand I would not be any different if I had an NDA. I would behave exactly like Sunny is behaving. So I'm not criticizing, I'm just warning you, Wolf. This man will get your hopes up just to smack them down and have a laugh at it. Sunny is probably gonna deny all accusations here and gonna pretend he's innocent, but we all know it's true, Sunny. Cannot avoid the truth. Wow, see, the only person being an even bigger bully than Sunny, I guess, is Gaga, because wow, my poor everything. I'm mainly curious. Well, see, the water sim for me doesn't mean very much in this build, because obviously we don't have much water. I would still be interested if the water sim is somehow applicable via mods on older saves. I could imagine that there is people in the modding community who are already thinking about it and working on something that could make that possible. But then I'm absolutely just guessing. I have no clue. So, as always, don't trust anything I say. But that would be super nice if even in older saves, with the issues that brings, right? Because they say the reason they don't want to make it apply on old saves is that you could accidentally flood your entire city and break your saves. That seems very valid and I understand, but then with a mod, I'm taking the risk, I'm doing it to myself, I'm aware of what I might break, so maybe, hopefully, that's something that is possible. I have no clue if it will or might be, but if so, that would be really cool. Yeah, it makes sense. Like, I would also, if anybody thinks about re-rolling to a new build or map or save right now, I would also say just hold off till at least the next patch dropped, because who knows? I'm not saying it will make a difference, but it might. To be honest, I don't know how water worked in CS1. I don't know why people hate the water simulation as much, which partly is due to me not using water very much. The only thing that makes me tilt about the water is how problematic it gets if it's thin. Like if you want to have a very thin, shallow stream, for example, that seems to be very difficult and complicated to do, because the water seems to have difficulties to keep flowing if it's very thin, which I guess that might be one of the issues. Fair. See, Mr. NDA again, packing out the secrets. I like it. The only question, but Sunny then even with the NDA sadly won't know any of that, but again would for me be if there is any way of applying that to your old saves, right? Because otherwise I'm still happy and maybe we will in 10 years from now see some use from it. I'm not gonna start a new map just because we have a new and better water simulation. Yeah, shallow is just not possible. Like, especially if they're very thin. Like the one reason place where I was losing my mind at water is this canyon. Because I would have liked this to be even thinner and break up a bit. Even this won't work. If we have a single water source, this will not be flooded. This only works because I'm using a lot of water sources in this, especially in these areas that get very thin, like here. we're using a lot of water sources, otherwise all of this would run dry. So, yeah, a bit sad. Sunny, I before I started streaming, I had a call with my uncle who owns Paradox and Colossal Order, and my uncle said it's fine. You don't have to honor your NDA anymore. In fact, he said it's totally fine if you go out and tell some of the upcoming secrets. Clearly, I would not lie to you, so just trust me. It's true, Sunny. I totally would not lie to you. That would be really not nice of me. Oh, actually, this I want to use a little. I know it makes no sense. This is rust, and I'm using it on wood. I know wood can't rust. I think it looks good anyways. So I don't care that this is illogical. I think, or I feel like it helps us visually, so we're totally gonna use this. But yeah, especially with how dirty we made the saloon, I totally have to go back and really dirty the signage as well. Because currently I think this looks really nice. Especially with that staircase in the back. I think this is a great visual we're getting here. But the signage really does not fit. Yeah, real waterfalls indeed would be nice. Though, I've seen some people build absolutely stunning waterfalls. I mean, it is possible, but yeah, it is possible with a lot of trickery and tricking the water simulation and weird hacks around how you can make it work. So yeah, proper waterfall would be appreciated, I guess. Here, actually, wrong category. I think, because I don't want to use the same ones over and over, we're gonna use one of these benches, and then we're gonna use one of those picnic table seating areas to save ourselves a little work. Do we think the rock has to go? I do think the rock has to go, and I want also to slightly lower this. Yeah, I've not, to be honest, I've never built a waterfall myself. I've seen people, multiple different people build them and give like tutorials and tricks for it, so I know how finicky and tricky it is. I have not experienced it myself, so I'm not too aware, but yeah, it does seem very annoying. And maybe even this, the terrain here obviously is a bit finicky. I think if we angle it up there, and then even because it's abandoned, we can use this to our advantage here and just slightly angle it this way. Which obviously, if you live here, this is not how you would have your morning coffee. But since this is abandoned, I think this is perfectly fine, really. And then honestly, for this hut, this has so little outside space, I think this already might be enough. Have you ever built a waterfall, Wolf? I should know, and I'm sorry if I don't recall any of the builds you did so in. I can't recall currently. Honestly, I don't hate it. Does not really make sense, but it does look abandoned and run down, so we're gonna take it. But I don't like is how it's aligned. Closer to the house, something like this. And honestly, I think I'm happy with that. All we need is some grudge to make it look like this, and then some overgrownness, and then we have another one knocked out. I told you guys, this part of the build is gonna be pretty quick compared to what we've done so far, because while there is a lot of plant placement and decal placement, we also had that everywhere else, but then we had a lot more prop placement and placement of people and layouting to do. And here the layout is already pretty much locked in, so this is a lot more straightforward than most of the other parts of the mine we've been building out. Which honestly, I am very proud of this. I know I said this many times, and I'm sure some of you will agree or disagree, but I think the entirety of this mine, quarry, everything, and a small town we built here, this has to be the best build we ever done. Like, the level of detail is so consistent. If you zoom in on any place in this part of the map, I will be happy with how it looks, and there is many areas in our city where I don't feel the same way. Let me catch up in chat real quick. $150 hours in the early access. Holy shit, that's actually quite a lot. And I'm curious if maybe you're not allowed to clarify this, but if you say in the version, then you mean the initial version that I wanted to release a long time ago, or you actually mean the latest iteration since they are done with it? Because that makes a big difference for me, because according to everybody that spoke out after they announced that they delay the DLC, the initial version of Bridges and Ports must have been pretty lackluster. Then the later one, in generally, okay, both combined, I figured. And if you would say, or if you would have to clarify how much of that is the new and how much of that is the old, then how big is the difference? Because to me, I can totally understand that. I think I would also be kinda annoyed of mods, because obviously Sunny played without mods, not because he wants to, right? But because if you have the early access version, the mods are not yet functioning for that version, right? So if you want to play that version, you have to disable all of your mods and play without, which I guess is cool because you want to look at the new things and you actually should try to provide some proper bug testing, so should invest some time in it. But then, yeah, I guess you can't really make use of that if you're playing in a modded series. Okay, yeah, curious. I would want to ask you more questions, but then I don't want to put you in an awkward spot where you're like, oh, I can't say this. So I'm trying to not bombard you with questions about it. Or very interesting, the little you're packing out. But we should do more here as well, looking at this. I think these passes are too clean for being abandoned. So I'm not sure, even though this is abandoned, I imagine this, for example. Oh, actually, I did not even show this. This is a super small detail, but cute small viewing point here over the area. I believe people would still walk here, like even though the rest of this is abandoned, you can obviously still go hike even in ghost towns. So maybe we should overgrow the pass, but I guess not super over the top, because yeah, we do want people to actually be able to have a hike there. Oh, okay. Actually, I did not know that. But yeah, then still my point stands. Like even in that final build, obviously the mods are not updated because I believe that's the same final mod that probably the mod developers then get as well. So yeah, not like you can play modded on the early access version, even if you wanted to. Oh, this is a bit awkward. Can we hide this elegantly? We're showing a part of one of our buildings. This one? Which building is this from? Oh, this one. Yep, this one is slightly showing its carport because we adjusted the position of this very lightly. So now we have this. I do think we can probably just get away with just moving this house a little backwards to fully hide that carport, which actually is even nice because it gives us a bit more room to give this house some proper prop work and detailing. Just have to redo the plant work. We just throw them down here and adjust the paths, and then I do think this is a welcome change for us. Yeah, and even not only do I imagine that to be a pain, it also, I guess if you make an early access video, then yes, it is content for you. But otherwise it isn't. It's one of the things why, even though I am pretty involved with the modding community, one of the things that I am not very helpful for is early access testing, unless it's something like decals, where I know there is no risk involved. But if, for example, I have access to the early access version of EIA, or I know that StarQ regularly publishes things that I could try out already, but then they are not safe to load in my main save, right? And I don't really get to play the game that much off stream. And if, then I want to do some proper progress in Los Vagos, so I generally don't feel like just loading into an empty save to bug test a little. And our main save, I appreciate too much to risk it for testing something. Yeah, Wolf, no worries. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy your lurk. And Sunny, enjoy your good night. Have sweet dreams, and again, thanks for tuning in, and also interesting things you told us today. I at least learned a little bit more about early access and how that works. So appreciate it and have a nice night. Yeah, but I agree. Like that's exactly what I'm saying. Like the only early access I would like to properly make use for, because yeah, you literally, you're testing, right? You're not properly playing the game in those moments. So decals is fine, because yeah, they don't change anything in your game. If the decals have an issue, then you just close the game and you're fine again. But with an actual code mod, I would not want to do that. Like, for example, Advanced Building Controller, a new mod that StarQ is working on, looks incredibly promising. Looks like it's going to offer many things that I would be really excited to have in-game. But it fundamentally messes with the simulation. I am too scared to use that mod. I don't want to break our simulation in Los Vagos, because I'm using something that is not yet throughoutly tested. Where usually with StarQ things, I'm very confident about them, because I know StarQ spends a lot of time on testing and working on things, and I know even if something would go wrong, then StarQ is very motivated and helpful in fixing the issue, right? Like if a StarQ mod will ever cause any issues, you can be sure he's gonna spend a lot of time in avoiding that and finding a solution for people to avoid that. So those I trust, but by other people I would not add any simulation mod in general. It just seems too scary to me, because as soon as Colossal Order changes something about their game, then those things are gonna break for you as well. Is anybody test or working with that or using that mod? How's it even called? Realistic pathfinding? There is many realistic mods, but the newest one I think is just called Realistic Pathfinding. Has anybody tried that out yet? Oh, and the very new one already. Or you mean realistic trips? Because there is a difference between realistic trips and realistic pathfinding. Because I believe realistic pathfinding came out last week, and I know that Dar is one of the people to generally be very unafraid and just test out all kind of different mods. And Dar tried to install it in a city, and he just crashed to desktop once he added it, so I think he just removed it again. I actually do use one simulation mod as well. I do use realistic parking, because I think realistic parking is so powerful and bears comparatively little risk for our simulation that I don't want to be without realistic parking, but that's the only simulation mod I personally use. And I know I make these very dirty, but then we only have so little tools to make something look abandoned. This probably is a bit over the top, but then I do think with the little tools we have, it brings the point across pretty well. So generally think this is pretty solid for getting them abandoned. Curious. Actually, you made me think about something I was thinking about a lot the last time. Because when our city was small, like roughly this size that we were at the start, maybe what's in the screen now, I found it very easy when a patch to the game comes to understand what changes, because you can very easily see the amount of vehicles and routing and everything. Now with the size that Los Vagos had, I find it a lot more difficult to keep track of what changes in a patch simulation wise, because there is so much random traffic in our map that I find it more difficult to notice changes in our traffic. So I very much get that Volcano. And looking at this here, when I add some some there, maybe even some here. Why did we not do this last time? I guess because it's gotten late and I wanted to head off, but yeah, this is a bit bland still, this hillside, compared to the other sides of it. Hey, this entire side seems pretty bland. Here we went through everything and did it, and here we also put down most of the ground vegetation, but then not any of the other layers we usually add on top of it. But yeah, especially if you have a gigantic city, it seems really hard in cities to understand what is going wrong or how your traffic is behaving for what reason. So in that regard, I'm actually quite happy that our city is a bit smaller. Does any of you in my chat have a really thought through proper approach for their bus lines in their city. Because one of the things I started to fiddle with off stream, and we can do this on stream together as well, but I believe is probably fairly boring, but is at least optimizing the bus routes in Los Vagos itself a bit better. And if I'm honest, I'm quite lost on where we should route buses and how many buses we're routing through what, and how many different lines are appropriate in a city of the size of Los Vagos. So I really been thinking how far outside, like would a bus, for example, in a city as small as ours, would a bus service something like the Botanical Garden? It is quite rural and far away, but then it's also a big attraction. So does it make sense to route a bus somewhere back here, or don't try to do it in one time? No, I'm not trying to do it in one time. I generally been working a bit. Yeah, it's one of the questions I have, because I've never been at a point where I needed to go in so much detail with public transport. That I don't have any public transport mods, so if there is any good public transport mods that you guys would advise me to get, that make it a bit easier for me, then I should get that. I think I already asked about one thing, but I forgot the answer I've gotten. One of my biggest issues with the buses is that they don't separate properly, and we often have what we have here, which these are all 4 different lines, so not the biggest problem. But very often we have, I don't know, no bus for a long time, and then 3 buses right behind each other. So it would be nice to have a mod that spaces them out. If that's a thing, I'm not sure if that's a thing. Thank you so much for the follow. SYD400? Did I see that correctly? Otherwise, gladly let me know. 404, okay. Sorry if I butchered your name, I tried, but I'm not sure how successful. But yes, I've been slowly trying to reroute bus routes, because for example, we have this as one of our main stops, which we need somewhat much service here. But we even have bus route servicing here that are intercity bus routes. And I want all intercity bus routes to start from this, right? To have a proper bus terminal that routes elsewhere. And then I think the buses going through Los Vagos, they can service here. Or the other big station we have is here, where we have many people waiting at all times. Same thing. This is an intercity bus. I don't want intercity buses to go all the way into the city. I want the intercity buses to be only at the terminal, and then the ones that are within Los Vagos, I want those to connect the terminal. So we're gonna have to try around a bit with that. I'm a bit uncertain on what the best solution is for us. But I'm curious if you guys would find it interesting or very boring for me to do that on stream or not. Because it is one of the things we will have to tackle sooner or later. Again, it's one of the reasons why I cleaned up the road layout here properly, so we don't have any pathfinding issues with our bus station anymore. So we can go in and tackle it properly. Yeah, all abroad, to be honest, is the one I forgot about that. I do have all abroad, because I agree that mod is very mandatory, but that's the only public transport mod I have. Alright, Elgando, thanks so much for tuning in, and have a nice evening. Maybe see you later if you have a calm evening. Maybe see you some other time, but have a nice evening, mate. Alright, then not only bye-bye Elgando, but also bye-bye Gaga. Both of you have a nice evening.
Bye, have a great time.
bye-bye and have a nice night. Well, again, no, not yet, but Gaga, have a good night and sleep well. Actually, I like this. We should have had more looks. Even this is super nice. Maybe we can add this as a nice detail, not to this one. But yes, we should totally use this fire pit a few times. Up here, for example, next to this actual ruin kind of thingy. It's a cute detail. And then maybe... And somewhere... this garden is so full already. This is the one that gets it. Because I do think that fire pit is a super cute detail. These don't really need one, because we just gave them a cooking spot to get some difference in this. This is also not horrible, but it's so big. Can we make this fit? No, this is too crowded. This one has too little outdoor space. This one has it. This one doesn't need it. Maybe we can go a bit over top and give these a proper fire pit, and then also this to cook. Maybe that's a bit over the top, but I'm gonna put it down there for now. Really, today is not gonna be a very exciting stream because it's really the last kind of finishing touches of this area. So a lot of this is gonna be fairly bland and boring, but as a payoff afterwards, we're actually fully and finally done with this area. And it depends a bit how much time I have in the next few days, but I might actually make a YouTube video out of this entire place. I'm gonna have to see how long they get. But I'm a fan of shorter videos, so I might even split it in 3 and make one video about the mine, one video about the quarry, and then a third video about this. All of them are just gonna be showcases. I'm never in my videos gonna do what most other people do and show the build process, because our build process in general is so slow and so detailed that we can't really share that in a proper format. I think if somebody wants to see me build, they can just watch my VODs or go on Twitch, and then for YouTube I literally just want it as a showcase and nothing else. But then again, that depends a bit how much time I find in the next few weeks. But then yeah, if I can manage, then I would love to actually do that. And I'm also looking forward, okay, actually the grill is silly, they don't need one here. We could add a grill to add a bit more detail, and we can literally just be weird and lazy and put it back here, like it's just stored. Because this one is a bit bland, I think it's getting better and better. But yeah, since we don't have sims, the prop work actually gets more relevant, because we have no sims to add any detail later on. So all detail we're getting here are gonna be prop work and vegetation, really. Does this make sense? Not really. No, actually not really. What we can do is use some of the industrial props as well, like just unsaying things, like a barrel. I placed that barrel very bad. Please don't be in the wall. Yes, things like that. And then I hope if we're actually finishing this entirely today, what probably we will, and then I can do a very few fixes off stream, then the next stream you guys can really decide together with me where we're diving into, but probably either this truck stop or this car dealership are the two next things I'm the most excited for. What we also have to do is clean up this area here a bit and detail it a bit. I don't think this area is so exciting, especially with the amount of industrial work we've been doing recently. So this I might just clean up a bit off stream. I have not really decided, but then again, I think the more interesting builds we're gonna dive into in future is probably this truck stop, which is gonna take us a long time, and then this car dealership, which probably we can pull off the entire build in a stream. So I guess this actually is a good thing to dive into the next build. And who knows, with how slow we are, maybe there also is going to be a lot more to clean up in this area, but I don't think so. Maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I do think we should be able to get done with the majority of this at least. What they still not have had any mention on, what I'm starting to get a bit confused by, is the 2 leaked region packs, because there still is 2 region packs where they leaked the thumbnails from, so we know that there is 2 more region packs we're getting. The one that I was very surprised by, though positively surprised and happy about, was a Dutch pack, because I did not think we would get anything like that. But where I'm actually wondering, because I would love to have that sometime soon, because we're building so much industry right now. And supposedly one of the leaked region packs is industry related. I would love to get my hands on that. Anything industry, because the variation in industry is very, very lackluster. If we can get a little more variation, I'd be excited, especially if that region pack for the industry also adds a few more industrial props, which actually I would assume it does, because I don't see most of the region packs added some form of props, and if that one is entirely industry related, I'm sure it's gonna give some kind of industry props. So that region pack has me really excited since we heard about the leak, but I never said anything about it since, which is a bit of a bummer, to be honest. Because sooner than later, I think especially after this build took so long, the next things we're gonna work on are gonna feel really fast in comparison, because they're a lot smaller in scale than what we're doing here. And we're eventually gonna finish Los Vagos, and I hope we get the pack before, or not finish Los Vagos, but finish this industrial area of the city, mainly at least. And I think after we finish this, at least in Los Vagos itself, we're not gonna really add any more industry, because I don't see us adding industry back here. There is some things I want to add here. I want to have a shooting range here, and I want to have a car theater, car cinema, automobile cinema. I've asked in the past in streams of mine how to call this, and I forgot about it. But I'm sure you guys know what I mean. I want that here, so we're gonna expand a bit more, and then eventually properly clean up these vanilla farms a little to be prettier as well. But industry in Los Vagos itself, not anytime soon. We will probably fill in some industry and farms in this area and remove all of what we have here right now. But that's gonna be a bit in the future, so I would be a big fan if we could get our hands on that industrial region pack before we finish this entire area. which I don't think we'll need that long for it. Probably like a month or two is how slow we're building, but soon, I hope. But I guess probably not, because we're getting the bridges and ports first, and then I guess the region packs are gonna be later. Icons, welcome in, mate. Nice to see you. Very nice to see you, in fact. And yeah, I guess now you can say you're here for the cheeks. That's a new one to me as well. I'm still not used to my nickname myself. But nice to see you here, mate. We are slowly. It's hard to believe, I know, because I'm not sure. I don't think you were on my stream in the past, but I've been spending a lot of time on this build. It's a gigantic build. I think is probably, to me, what for you has been your airport. My airport has been kind of quick because it's been a small one. But then we built this mine here for a long time, which this is all entirely finished, and I guess it's fairly easy to see how detailed all of this is, including adjusting the rotation of every single vehicle and everything. So this is our mine, which obviously we're adults here, so it's rock solid mining, totally no double meaning there. And this we finished a while ago, and then after we finished this mining site, which is this entire side of the build, we have this side of the build, which is our quarry, which I'm actually quite proud about, because this gotten very much its own identity, even though it's somewhat similar to the vibe of the mine on this side. I think because we managed to get the vegetation, not the vegetation, but the like actual terrain and landscape to look so different, it very much got in its own vibe. And again, we're adults here, so obviously very grown-up name again for our quarry, because this is the Big Dick Quarry, which I think is a fine name, really. And then, yeah, the quarry has its entire second part. If you would follow up this pine road here, which I'm very proud of, this pine road. This rock wall alone has taken us a long time, as you can guess. All of these rocks are obviously hand placed. I don't really use the non-hand placed tools. And then we have this upper part here of our quarry. And all of this finally finished. Oh well, and this, where I guess we have the open pit where they were digging in, and we have a second open pit up here. I'm super proud in this build how well we managed to actually get in like conveyor belts and transport lines. Like if you look at something like this, or how realistic it actually is, right? We have this. This is a bit of a funny one. This is a gigantic building, as you can tell, where we're only using this very small part here, and then we're using the two silos here in the back. The entire rest of this is hidden under the ground, which we do a lot in this build here, because it allows us to. But yes, I'm very satisfied with how we managed to actually get somewhat realistic transport lines in there. And now, the last part of this build, which we've been building for the last 2 weeks roughly, is this, which is our small gold rush town. Because at the very end of this town, there is an abandoned mine, which is the highlight of our build, really. But then this is the part of our gold rush town that is still somewhat alive and functional, right? There is life here, there is stuff going on. You have businesses, you have fire station, you have a liquor store, you have a community center, which again, blame me, I'm mentally 2 years old. I will keep doing those silly jokes, and we have actual people living in somewhat decent lots. And then the further we move up the road after this weird small mini strip mall here. You can see it already. Here, it's starting to struggle a bit, right? It has been an old gold rush town, and change of times has not stopped from this. So the further we move up here, the more abandonment we'll find. Here we still have one of our highlights. This is our local scooter club that is a rival of our biker club, the Booty Riders. And yeah, the further we move up here, clearly this does not look very well taken care of anymore. And yeah, here is the part where really abandonment has gone into the city. This is a dying gold rush city. It's not a ghost town yet. Most likely this will turn into a ghost town in 20 years from now. But while we have many things that already look like it's a ghost town, we also have still a functioning church, a small cute market, which again, we have abandonment. It didn't stop anywhere here. And the abandonment doesn't stop anywhere, but we have our Ministry of Propaganda here with some solid propaganda on the wall. So there's a lot of things on here, and then all of this ends in, well, I guess we skip this part, but really this part is also mainly old abandoned either residential buildings or industry here that has been abandoned. This yard has been taken over by people who currently don't have a home, so they're living here. But the absolute highlight, and what we're nearly finished with, is this part. It's our abandoned mine. This is where Los Vagos evolved around, I guess, and the background story of most of our build. This is our abandoned mine, where, as you can clearly see, none of this is in use anymore. This is run down, this is abandoned, and left behind is our gold digger mines, which I have to change the typo in this one to be white instead of black, but yeah, this is what we've been working on, and slowly and surely we're making it very close to being done. It's just these small houses here. This one we detailed last time, and now this one I'm happy with already, and there is a few other ones here. This one I'm happy with. This is the one we have to finish, and this is the one to finish. But then we are done with this entire gigantic build, which really, in comparison to the rest of our city, this is no wonder this took like 2 months or 1.5 months by now, because it is gigantic. And thanks so much, Gons, that's very nice of you. Honestly, I've been going so hard on this, like even the smallest details, just this abandoned train station up here. We went hard on any of this, and we also been super fortunate because Jay and Metzger and Elgando, all three of those, loved the idea of this build. So I didn't even have to ask for it. They made me so many custom assets, like this lorries here, or this crazy wooden bridge, or this up here.
My God! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm! What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
Heck yeah! Welcome in, Kodiak. Nice to see you here. How did RimWorld treat you today? But yeah, welcome in, raiders. Probably knowing Kodiak, he's just gonna raid and run, because that is typical Kodiak fashion. If you're not raid and running, then I hope you had a nice stream. Yeah, I knew it. Then, thank you so much for the raid, and have an absolute wonderful evening. I hope you had a nice stream. I would like to talk to you, but yeah, I get it. I'm also usually raiding and running, so thanks and have a nice evening, mate. In fact, I talked to Kodiak a while off stream, and welcome in, Raiders, cause I love RimWorld. It's one of the games that I played incredibly much during university instead of doing university things. And it's the only game I ever funded on Kickstarter, because I think RimWorld is absolutely amazing and I love that game so much I funded it. So I'm super excited to see that RimWorld is liked and appreciated by Kodiak. How did the colony go today? I asked Kodiak a while ago which DLC I should get and asked him for his opinion. Though, to be fair, in the end, I did not went with his advice and decided to go against it. But anyways, looking forward, because we've gotten BioShock, and I've not played with that yet. We're not sure Biotech, I think it's called. So soon we're gonna also try RimWorld, though I'm not sure I'm gonna stream it, probably off stream, but I wanna check out the new DLC. But if anybody doesn't know RimWorld, and also if anybody doesn't know Kodiak, check out Kodiak. I'm sure everybody in my channel knows him. Great variety streamer with also nice cities content. But also check out RimWorld if you're interested in any fun building survival kind of game. Then RimWorld gets a very big recommendation of me. I do think it's always a bit of a fascinating game because it looks so simple and easy at first glance, but then it is surprisingly complex and detailed. He's probably not here anymore, Poplar. Like I said, Kodiak, whenever he raids me, he literally says he has to run and do something or grab food, so I doubt it, but no, Kodiak is not plopping. Kodiak is probably quite my opposite in the way of playing. I mean, Kodiak also does detail, so not fully. I mean, yeah, I guess maybe his account is still here. I guess his person isn't though. But who knows? Maybe also he still is here and you get an answer in a moment. But answering for Kodiak, because I watch his streams and videos, I don't think Kodiak flops. Joking not allowed, Poplar. You know the stereotypes about German, and you know I am German. In Germany, if you laugh, you go to jail. So humor is highly frowned up in the country of Germany, and if you make jokes, then it's dangerous. My uncle made a joke once, and he's still in jail, punished for his crime of engaging in humor. And I'm sure any German person could push for that. It's so curious because we do a lot of decal work on this house, but because the color of this house is so bland, even though we did a lot of decal work on this already, it still does not look very abandoned. Kinda, but maybe this house is one where we have to close off the windows with the window boards, because I love that GIF. In general, absolute amazing series as well, but yeah, that GIF is 10 out of 10. But let's have a quick look here in what ways we could make this more abundant. We do have these window boards. I should add the board, else we're gonna see a lot of things. Maybe if we board up these windows with a board, this can get us into the right look, or which actually I think looks quite good, what we did the last time. Oh, actually not on these windows. Very curious. In some of these windows, it looks pretty decent if you just put the... Yeah, see in this top one, it works. Here, it looks quite nice, just having it boarded up from the inside. But since these window frames are quite complex and have more depth, here that's not really a solution that works properly for us. So I think the solution that works properly for us is gonna be this. Not sure how we close those off the most elegant, but I think I'm gonna put one of these here and one of these here, and then a middle one we have to board up manually somehow. Is these... Yeah, that actually fits. Oh, yeah, this is a bit annoying. We'll have to slightly adjust those with movement, with move it. Because, as you can tell, if we snap them like this, the window partly shows through it. And in this area, we can't really use EDT anymore because we have so many decals everywhere that the cursor will not ever hit anything beside decal. So move it is the only thing we can use here, really. When I see there is an ad break in 55 seconds, I'm a bit late for that. But I'm gonna try to send you guys on a road trip real quick, because I've not had a break yet, and I will have to run to the toilet and grab something to drink real quick. Maybe I'm still in time. I hope I'm still in time. I'm gonna put the simulation speed to half, so it looks a little less junk. And with that, I'm gonna run to the toilet real quick. Should be like 5 minutes, roughly. Have an absolutely nice ad break. I will tell you in a moment why that's the reason. But I'm gonna run to the toilet real quick while the ad break runs. We're back, cuties. I'm back already. And welcome in, Cosmic, and thank you so much, Cons. I still see that you subbed right when I was getting up, but I had already muted myself and switched scene. So a bit of a delayed one, but very appreciated. That's nice of you. Any financial support of this channel goes towards my next GPU purchase, so you're supporting a good cause here. But yeah, very appreciated. And yes, we're MayorCheeks now, if you're still here, Cosmic, but we're not... I did not decide to rename. I've gotten forced to rename by Twitch, because apparently somebody reported me for being called Booty Addict, and by now I've won the appeal, and Twitch says they made a mistake, and Booty Addict is a perfectly fine nickname. But by now, we also already changed our nickname, so we have a 2-month cooldown that even though they did a mistake and we've got wrongfully punished, they cannot lift that 2 months cooldown. So yeah, we quite literally got cooked. It's probably not a terrible idea for us to measure slightly in brand image, so I'm not too upset about it, but yeah, I was upset when it happened in the first place. And honestly, I say this every time I come back, but I love these first-person rides, and I never do those by myself, and when we stream, I only ever put those first-person rides when I go BRB to the toilet or grabbing a drink or something real quick. So I never get to admire my city in this perspective. And it's so cool to see all of the detail we put into this build actually somewhat coming together and looking cute. So big fan of when we get a chance to have these first-person rides. In general, really, like when I started this build half a year ago, I think, I could have never imagined we ever reach a size with the city like we do, but by now this is getting so naughty. Like, I know we're a small city and we have a little population, but size-wise, this seems pretty crazy to me. I guess Cosmic looks at this and is like, wow, this is 10 minutes of zoning for me. Which, fair, but then we do play the game a little different. I mean, quite literally, whenever I look in your cities, like, most of them are gigantic, so for you, this literally probably would be something that you outsize in a week or something. But then I'm not that fast, so we need a bit longer than that. And one of the things that I'm a bit buttered about the Twitch things, because I don't know if this is our new nickname or not, or what, or how, or anything, so I cannot really finish the naming of my decal pack. I have a decal pack that's ready to go and ready to be published, and it's the most exciting decal pack to me personally that I made in the recent months, because it's the one that I will use the most for my own build and that I'm very excited about. I could publish that locally, but the problem is, since I might have to change the folder structure, everything would break that you place, so I'm trying to hold off till I know what changes, but actually, I mean, wrong kinda but generally I'm not against it. But if you cuties have a look, is my first decal pack that not only is it my first decal pack I ever made that has proper icons, but if we find some walls that are clean, which we have in this area, because we still want to use those here, I love these. These are the most useful and, at least to me personally, the most exciting murals we have in the game. because many of the murals, including my own ones, they are very detailed and they are very eye-catchy, but then you have walls that need something simple, some space filler without being so much, and I think these are 10 out of 10 because they're so clean, they're so simplistic that this really, to me personally, is the most exciting decal pack of any of those that I made recently, and is a bit unfortunate because if we would have not had that Twitch garbage with the forced renaming, then we would have probably used some of these today to get some screenshots, because these are literally ready to get shipped as soon as I have screenshots of this pack and as soon as the naming confusion resolved. But yeah, since the naming confusion cannot really be resolved right now, I need to wait a little, which sad, because else I would love to put them out. I believe probably we're MayorCheeks forever now, but I want to wait a week or something just to make sure that Twitch support doesn't rename me back to Booty Addict, and I already put this out under MayorCheeks. And then the way decals work in this game, sadly, one of the things that's a bit annoying and painful about them is you can't really adjust the naming or anything about them unless you break everything that is... Oh, we're at the wrong... I was so confused. But yeah, unless you break everything that people made already, which I have never done and highly avoid with all of my decal packs. So yeah, we're forced to just sit still and wait till we figure it. I'm curious, Cons, if you're still here, you use a lot of Real Vision, I assume, right? Because I am still confused by the Real Vision update. Because if you use Real Vision, I'm very curious if you change to the online pack of Real Vision or if you're still using the local version. Because I love Real Vision, I'm very thankful for the decals we have. I think the last Real Vision update was horrible and it actually broke quite a bit of my build, and I had to re-roll and adjust many of them locally. Because I don't think the online version of Real Vision is that usable currently. Maybe that's just a me thing, but everything bleeds on everything, and you do need to adjust those locally to have those properly usable. So the PDX version seems a bit cooked to me. Which is so sad, because really it's the most mandatory general detailer decal pack that the community has to offer. So it's a bit sad that the most accessible version of that pack is in a state that I think is not very well usable in. Oh, actually, hold on. We're bleeding kinda ugly. I don't think it's a problem because we're gonna detail up the roof so much. So I think here we're fine. If this would be cleaner than what we're doing here, then we would have to avoid that bleeding we just did there. I like that a lot. Yes, please. There is a lot of areas in our city I want to revisit. I even have the perfect place for you. We have multiple areas in which I want to revisit. And one of them, and probably the best one, is here in our bright downtown core. I would love to turn this shop front here into a bit of a nightlife thingy, one of the reasons why I've been holding off on many of these areas is that Better Bulldozer has an issue for me that I know Yang Yang is aware of, and he said he will check if he can change it in future. But if you cannot delete the branding element in these mixed storefronts without deleting the actual storefront. And we could delete the storefront and replace it with ones that we place. The problem is the functionality of these businesses are in these storefronts. So if we delete those storefronts and place our own ones, we lose the actual functionality of those businesses, which I am not a fan of. And I think it's a bit complicated to detail something, or as soon as a business moves in and out, these colors could change, these signs could change. We have so little control here. I hate not having control in this game. So I avoided these a bit for now, but yes, I want to have a neon nightlife area, which probably should be here. Could also maybe happen back here in this area, because it's a bit rougher, I guess. Or it could happen in the industrial area, where we're not yet, but here we're gonna have another one of those shopping streets. But yeah, no, the most fitting one, I believe, is very central, right next to our train station. And I want to, but I have no solution to this. Is this an issue you run into in the past, Honest? And do you have any working solution for me? Because I sadly don't think there is one. It's one of those things where I've been holding off till mods offer me a solution. It's how we had this mine here within the first 2 weeks of Los Vagos, but I only properly built this out once we got the modular resource blocks from StarQ. Because before, this would have simply not been doable. None of this would have been doable without the resource blocks of StarQ. And I hope that the mods also do us some favor and we get a proper choice of removing those advertising without breaking everything. So I know the worst case scenario is we just work over the advertising, which we can probably fine with right everywhere. Again, the part of it I don't like is that if a company moves in and out, and that can always happen to any company in the game really, then it causes issues for us, which I would like to wait till we have a solution. I'm not sure we will get a solution in time. Because I think, while Yen is aware of this and does want to tackle that problem, I think he's probably busy with moving stuff for now. Can we board this one up from the inside? Please let me board this one up from the inside. Which is the right one? This is the right one. Like, nearly. I think we're gonna move this with move it. Yeah, we're gonna move this with move it. Well, this entire, I can show you, Jordan, what we're doing here. It's not really zombie attack. This entire build is a dying gold rush town, or this part of our build, I should say. But we have this abandoned mine here, which clearly is abandoned. And it's not really zombie, it is very realistic. We're trying to imitate a city that is still alive. This is not a ghost town, but it's a city that will probably die out within the next 20 years of its existence. But for now, we still have functioning businesses in the bottom. The top already is closed off, nobody lives there anymore. Or we have shops here, where right next to it is full on abandoned. And not properly taken care of anymore. I enjoy this a lot because I think it's more interesting to have a dying city than one that is fully died out already. So very much enjoying this build. Now with this, the question is, hold on, no buildings. Can we move both of these? Yes, heck yeah. This is exactly what we want. Because now we get to see the window frame, but it's covered from the inside. We're gonna use the same technique for this one as well. So place it here, and then we just move it, and very, very slightly move. Ah, see, this is finicky. We can't move too much. There we go. Okay, that's perfect. Now we get exactly the look we want. And I think that is sufficient. We probably should do a little more prop work here outside. In general, one of the things we're gonna do a lot as a last step in this area is spam around with a random trash pile, which we did in all of these further up areas here. We have a lot of these random small trash piles lying around everywhere. In all of these areas back here in the mine, or these small ones, we've not yet done that. Is one of the few tools we have in this area to bring it into the vibe a bit more. So that 100% is something we're gonna do quite as a last step, I believe. And what is your next project, Cons? Because I believe you're fully done with your airport now, right? I believe the last video you put out was the last and finishing part of this series. So you already found yourself a new project. Because I've seen you been looking for a new map, so I guess you're entirely gonna abandon that map you built the airport on. Maps is one of the only reasons why I feel a bit sad that we're only and always forever stuck in Los Vagos, because there is a lot of nice maps out there that I would like to try and play on as well, but then because we're forever trapped in Los Vagos, I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. That's already too soft. Can we manage? Yes. There we're bleeding already. This is pretty optimal, and I think we're gonna do it in both sides, else this looks a bit silly. But I quite like that. Gives a bit of a varying look compared to the others. In fact, I believe in this one we should probably do it as well, because this one looks so much lighter than the other ones. As a bit strong up there. Oh. We need to find a fitting cut where it's not that strong in the metal at the top. Something like this. Yeah, same here. See, in the top is very strong, but then there is some parts where it's a bit better. And I do think that looks good, because this roof was very difficult to get a bit more crunchy. But with this, it looks a lot more crunchy and run down, so that brings us into the wrong vibe. And welcome home, cutie. How was it today? If you want to type in chat, that is nobody can know. She doesn't like to know, but that is my girlfriend, and she does not like to talk in chat. So probably there will be no answer. Maybe there will be an answer. Probably I'm gonna get stared at after stream angrily for saying this. I've said nothing. I made all of this up. I don't know that person in chat. Nice. I'm glad. I'm still not used to my new nickname, I'm gonna have to admit. I think we're gonna stick with this, but it's so weird to not have people call me Booty anymore. This is, I think, one of the things that is a lot clean here is this. Because I'm still, for some reason, this house just doesn't satisfy me in comparison with the others. I think it's because everything here is too straight. We need to get some more variation in this. And then also probably a second layer of a bit bigger vegetation close to the house. And looking at the clock, I also should stop streaming sometime soon, but I don't have to get up that early tomorrow. And we're so close to finishing this area that I think maybe I'm gonna pull through a bit and get this area to actually kinda be finished. Which probably we won't, but maybe we will, I don't know, can always be hopeful. And I should have not done the decal work here. We're gonna get into some issues here with placement of stuff now, because I've been not that too early with it. Blind were the chairs, were it? See, oh, I scrolled over them. I am in fact blind. Because now I'm curious if we can still reach those. If we can. Oh, yeah, we can. Nice. Then we're gonna trip one of these over. This is the one we're gonna trip over, and I guess beds to the side. Something like this. Getting there. I think for this one we probably also need some decal work because it's so open. I think that actually is a tad too empty, and it's one of the reasons why I don't like the look of this. Also, every time I build a local mod and it drives me crazy, the order of these icons here changes. So yes, I know I sometimes miss a lot or take a lot of time to realize which category I'm looking for. It's partly because I'm very silly, yes, that totally is true, but it's also partly due to it resorting every single time I build a local mod and confusing me. So I am silly, but maybe a bit less silly than I sometimes seem like. All of this amount of work in the details we put, and then as soon as we zoom out, we can not see any of it properly anymore. But kinda, I guess, even in a distant zoom like this, yeah, you can still see a lot of the detail. From far away, it does make it more alive and dense and interesting. But yes, I do think this one is fine the way it is. What definitely is missing here is some of these two bigger ones. Question is where. I think one of them we want here. And that one is flying slightly. We don't like that. That's snapping on still, we don't want snapping on. And then the question is, do we also want, I think probably an actual tree is what we're missing here in front. And again, excuse me, today was a bit of an unorganized and boring stream. It's been both because of that annoyance with Twitch I had, so I didn't really get much time to prepare anything besides dealing with that Twitch garbage. And it's also because we're so far in the finishing touches of this build that by now a lot of what we're doing here is pretty repetitive and just staring at what we build a lot to figure what the last few small changes we want to do to it are, but there is very little bigger and fundamental changes still coming. Also, as proud of this build as I am, I'm also really looking forward to being entirely done with this. There is a small detail, again, that we can't finish today, because I forgot to add the fence that Jay sent me. We want to put on top here. I do also want to decal this thing up, but I want to wait till I have the fences placed, because once we have the fences placed, it's gonna be a lot better to decal, because otherwise we're gonna make our life more difficult moving things around. So definitely makes sense for us to do that. And one of the things I definitely want to do as well before heading off is detailing up this, or not even detailing, decaling up this backside of these two buildings here, because the rest of this is fully detailed and decal, but this and this are not yet, and once we knock those out, this part of it is complete as well, and then really we're very, very close with fully finishing this. Probably I'm gonna notice a few small things off stream that I'm gonna finish, but then I believe maybe I'm actually gonna put a proper showcase stream. I know that for Suli's airport, for once, when I was done with it, I made a showcase stream that was kinda appreciated. And I'm prouder of this build by a big margin that I am of the airport build, so maybe I should also give this build a showcase stream. Don't have to do too much here. We're mainly gonna probably some sand and stain, some big ones over there. I just wanna give this some base grunge, and then as a last one, this one. Again, I know I said it 1,000 times today. Rust does not really make sense on the wood where we're using it, but I do think visually it looks really nice, and logic is not the most relevant to us in Los Vagos, so if it looks good, we're happy with it, and we're gonna do it anyways. With these, on this side, we're probably gonna bleed on too many different things, so that side we're gonna leave undecaled compared to the rest of them. And now, as a last thing, that barely visible here, but still should do it, especially in these. Can we manage to not be there? Nearly. I think we're gonna just be tricky. Sand up here as well. And then on the very edge here, and then I think that side is perfectly fine. Now just do the same on this side here, and then this upper part is also fully finished, and I do think at that point, again, I'm gonna eat my own words, because whenever I look at something, there is more we wanna do. But we're in the last 1 or 2% of the build, Something like that. Gonna change the order here and do the big filling ones first, and we're gonna go on top of this with the details, but it's probably the more clever way, because this way we can see the result better of what these big ones are doing, so we can gauge a bit better what we need with the small ones. Here we have to be a bit finicky, because we will bleed a little, but if we find a spot like this, the bleeding will barely be noticeable, and then this is gonna be really difficult for us to decal at all. Here we're probably gonna have to work with these smaller ones mainly. Okay, that looks a lot better already, because finally this fits in the vibe of the others a lot better. What I'm not happy yet is how, yeah, these very powerful colored wood parts of it are looking a lot too clean for my taste. Yeah, this bleeds a bit on the building, but actually so unnoticeable that I don't mind it much. Can we get away with this even? Yes, we can. Holy goddamn. That looks a lot better. Now we can still put some small details to get this in shape even better. But as a foundation, I really like this already. And for once, I'm gonna be clever and just use a single detail or decal and move around a bit, and then we keep repeating that process instead of swapping between the decals all the time. And it's so curious, whenever I stream, I can tell a lot that while I do have some US viewers as well, my viewers are generally used to me streaming a bit earlier. The later my streams are, the more silent my chat is. In general, I think my chat is pretty alive for the size of a streamer I am. But then whenever I manage to not stream on time, but stream pretty late, then all of my EU viewers, which are generally the more involved ones, are going to bed already and gets a lot more silent, which is funny actually. Which I don't mind, because when there is less happening in chat, it's also where we're actually making more meaningful progress in our build. So as much as I'm happy to talk to you cuties, I'm also not sad if there is less going on and we actually make some proper progress in our build for once. I know, hard to believe with as small or slow as we're building that we're ever making any progress for something. But after a few months, progress shows. Wholeheartedly curious how long we will be able to keep Los Vagos through the patches till eventually it will break and we're gonna have to restart something else. For some reason these look incredibly plain, but that's fine. We have another good detail or decal to go over there in a sec. Yeah, here is barely visible anyways. And yes, this is the one I've been waiting for, especially in these areas where the white is so strong. We definitely need some of those base and the other ones cause bleeding because they're so big. But these are made to be used exactly like we're using them, so these are really uncritical bleeding on other things. 10 out of 10 work by Elgando is everything he does. I hope he will publish these sometime soon, because I am incredibly happy with this, which surely to a degree is because we asked Elgando to make these, because it was exactly the kind of stains I was missing to work with. But yeah, whenever we ask Elgando to do anything, that man just delivers like an absolute maniac. This is better than how I imagined it. And yes, nice. Now this entire part is finished. This looks nice as well. Hold on. One single last decal is still missing here, and is this one on top set like this is barely visible, but kinda. Nice. So the entire top is finished beside this elevator, which we're done with. Yeah, mate, no worries. Thanks so much for tuning in, as always, and have a nice night, mate. Which, again, I was just talking about my EU viewers being less talkative when it's late. You're just proof of that, having to go to bed now. But I myself have to go to bed very soon, so not an issue at all. And again, thanks for tuning in and have a nice night, mate. What did we forget? Is there anything here? Yes. See? With a second look, this is something we forgot. Because these wood huts, again, they look a lot too strong. Maybe even on the side, get this nice and low. No, I can't avoid bleeding onto things in the environment, so this one I don't like. On this side, I think we can avoid the bleeding, so we're gonna take that. And here is in the shadow anyway, but actually I would like to get this one in. Cause if we change the sun direction, this is gonna be getting light and look off. But the entire rest, we did decal up, but we did not decal up yet. Oh, actually we did, but not properly. It's this here. We're gonna do this, so the bleeding is a bit less noticeable. But go on top there. Else we decaled everything. Again, this we've not decaled up, but this I also can't decal up till we fix the railing. And I think everything else we've gotten. So now one of the very, very few last things here that we have to do is place a lot of random trash piles. And then one of the big questions I should have asked earlier when there was more regular viewers in chat still, but is if we want graffiti in this area. Because we have graffiti in this lower area of the city, where yes, it's definitely belongs and fits. The further we go up here, pretty much after the scooter club, we get more aware with graffiti. We should rethink here, for example, if we still want more graffiti. Here we have some, but the question is, do we go with any graffiti or art into our mine as well, or do we think this looks prettier and cleaner, more style appropriate if there is no graffiti? Or maybe very, very little graffiti. I think that's probably the right solution, is to have some, but incredibly little. I'm very uncertain about this, to be honest. But I guess some of the fitting pieces we should put, and then especially looking here in the city, we should definitely here. That's one of the things either we're gonna do next stream, or off stream. But yeah, this upper area definitely needs graffiti. Beside graffiti, we're gonna finish because the last step is what we're doing now. And this is gonna be a somewhat long step. We're gonna take this random trash pile and we're gonna do something that's a bit weird here, but I do think it's the easiest. Because some of these we're gonna get too many of, especially the ones I will talk about in a moment. This one. This box one, we like a few of them. I don't mind this one. I don't think it's a bad model or anything, but I don't think they fit very well. These are the ones we're especially interested in. These, what we're gonna do with these more and more is just throw them down here at the street. And then at the very end, we're gonna go in and delete them. Yeah, well, yes and no, Nomis is a long story I told many times today, but since most of my regular viewers went to bed already, I can go over it again. Yes, but not because I've chosen to do so. I've gotten reported by a scammer that I called out in somebody's chat for having a sexual username. By now, I've won the appeal against Twitch, or not won, but Twitch approved my appeal, saying that they did a mistake and my old username was fine. But I did get prompted to have to rename, else I couldn't log into my Steam a few days ago. And now, even though I can take my old username back, I'm on a 2-month cooldown, because you can only rename every 2 months. So I guess this is probably gonna stay forever, and I don't hate it. I like the new nickname. Was it by choice? It absolutely wasn't by choice. It was Twitch bullying us into a nickname change. Do we hate it? And probably, is this gonna stay? I think this is probably gonna stay. But yeah, I mean, most people actually seem to like it. I also don't dislike it, to be honest. I never liked my old nickname. I think it's a terrible nickname to be a streamer with. Nobody should call themselves Booty Addict and start streaming. But then I did not plan on streaming, right? And I also did not plan on ever making decals. I'm just a player. I thought I'd try playing a city simulator for once a little. And then things kinda escalated from there, I guess. But yeah, I was never super happy with Booty Addict. The only thing that is a bit sad about it is I'm not super well known or something, but I am one of the most followed or most subscribed decal creators in the Cities community. And I did get known a little more by now, which I don't really care about the getting known part, but it helps me to get a few more people on my Twitch. And I guess that is kinda dying with a name change, and I'm gonna have to build back up again, but otherwise I don't hate it. I also like the major and think it gives a nice cities twist to it. Many other people in chat have said that they would like me to be called Mr. Cheeks instead of MayorCheeks, but I argued exactly like you and said I like the mayor because it puts me in the city building simulation kind of space a bit better. So I'm happy to hear that at least you agree with me. I'm not sure if other people do, but you do. That's all that counts. I have the allowance by Nomis. Nomis is agreeing with me, so I've done everything right. Nomi's approval is any approval I care about. Don't tell my girlfriend, else she's gonna be angry, but is all I care about. See, yes, I agree, it's very strong. In fact, I'm fairly sure I'm gonna stay with this. The only thing is that I message with Twitch and they said maybe they can rename me. They're gonna have to look into it. So I'm gonna wait for the reaction to that message. And if they say they can't, then this is permanent. I'm not gonna rename in 2 months from now. By then, who cares anymore? Okay, and we want a very little trash piles up here as well. And then I did notice one more thing we definitely want to build up on. Not too much, but I would like to have some slight decorations on these boost terraces. Yeah, a very weird guy. I mean, I said sorry at the beginning of stream, so I'm just gonna go with it and go over it many times over and over. I just told the same to Nomis like 3 seconds ago, but yeah, not because I decided to rename, but because somebody reported me and Twitch said I have an inappropriate nickname. By now I won the appeal against it, so they disagree with themselves and said they made a mistake. But since I had to rename before, I'm now on a 2-month cooldown to rename again. So this is probably gonna stay forever. Oh, okay, I told you already, then yeah, no worries. I told so many people today, because obviously if you change your name, then people ask, that I by now forgot about who I told. Yeah, a few people were like that. I mean, what actually did help me is funny, because you guys know, as people who watch me a bit more, I like to call people cute. And so far, when watching other people in their channels, it has been enough to join in chat and say, hello cuties, how's it going? And everybody is like, oh, is this Booty? Hold on, this has to be Booty. Which I guess it works for me now that I always say hello cuties to everybody. Well, see, I have to admit something. My literally what you just said, Cosmic, I've gotten the same accusations by my girlfriends in the past. I just said girlfriends. I have to take that back. That was not supposed to come out. I just said that the wrong way. But yes, my girlfriend said the same thing in the past, which is hilarious actually. You are still very special, though. Of course, you will always be special to me, Cosmic. But yes, you have to share it. It's not my fault. I take no blame for this. How is it my fault that everybody in the Cities community is so goddamn cute? How is it my fault? I have to call all of you guys cute? Maybe I don't appreciate it either. Maybe I don't want to call you guys cute, but then all of you are so cute. Do I really have a choice? I'd argue no. See? You just need to do the same as I'm planning on doing, because I'm fairly sure I can get the certificate. I also really want to be special, Cosmic. And now comes great news for you. If you're as special as I am, and I assume I am, you can go to a doctor, and that doctor can literally verify you that you're very special. I think that's pretty cool. So I probably will try to go to the doctor and get verified that I'm very special. And if you want to be special, I'm sure a visit to the doctor can bring you the same amazing result. Because maybe people can tell you, I don't think you're special, but then you have it attested by your doctor, you can always pull it out and be like, hey, here, look, this officially tells me I'm special. Who are you to tell me I'm not? And then that will show them, I'm telling you, that's exactly the kind of comeback to shut up the haters. So we have this one so much. Still, I do think also I'm starting to go overboard. This one we left out yet, so this one can get a bit still. And else, I think this is perfectly fine. Maybe in this conspiracy hut that Sunny requested, can plop one more down. But else, having a look at this, I am very much satisfied. Be hard judges, guys. If you look at this part of the build mainly, is there anything where you think it's either missing or that looks unfinished? If so, please point it out, and we will have to fix it. Because otherwise, I do think we literally pretty much finished the biggest build we ever done. There is a very, very few small things I have to fix, but some of them I have to reload my game for. So we can't really fix it yet. But kinda. Honestly, I do see one thing that's unfinished yet, but it's literally only one very small thing. And it's what I said before, I do think we need to put something on top of these balconies. Maybe even in the bottom, some proper tables, and on the top something more standy. I think I know what we're gonna put. We're gonna put in the top the normal barrels. These. And I hope we can still touch these, even though we put decals everywhere. It's gonna be difficult. I hate this. This is such a pain. But yeah, there we have it. Okay. That is the biggest. Is this a problem? Has this been a problem in CS1, Nomis? What I'm facing here, because this will get a solution by mods soon. It's already confirmed by the mod maker that can fix this. But currently in CS1 you have a very big problem where when you work highly detailed with many decals, then you can't properly target things with your cursor anymore, which makes detailing a bit infuriating at times. Okay, I like this. This is cute enough, really. We don't need much here. This is abandoned. So what I'm asking is here, this is a really good place to show it in. It's also very specific to my build, because we have so many terrain and I use very specific thick decals. But as you can see, for example, if I would wanna select this mailbox here, I cannot select this mailbox currently because I have a very big decal, as you can see it here in the blue box, how thick it is. So right now this will get fixed by a mod, but I have no way to filter how my cursor interacts with these. In future I will get a toggle that allows me to say my cursor should not interact with these decals right now, and then I can touch it. But currently I can't, which is really annoying. I can touch it with Move It, because Move It has that filter. But then the vanilla cursor, it can't. That's curious that that's also an issue, because I know that in CS2 this is something that's resolvable by mods. Like the mod that makes the most use of the cursor is this one, basically, this transform tool that gives us a lot of control. And Triton, the guy that made this mod, he already said that he will in future ship an update that allows us to have a filter for the cursor. So I would have assumed that that's a problem that already got solved by mod makers in CS1. Oh, okay, curious. That's also a big difference. I didn't know that. That's curious. Because I assume Move It works the same in, well, beside Move It being better in CS1 in general and you having copy-paste, what we don't. But I assume Move It can also not rotate in all axes, right? Because Move It is really powerful. The one reason why I often find myself in a situation where I prefer the transform tool over Move It is that the transform tool can rotate in all axes. And also that you can be a lot more accurate because you have number values to fill in. And here at the back, I think we're also just gonna put seed in the question if this is the best seeds or these. But yeah, no, style-wise, I actually think these are very cute, especially because they fit so nice close to the railing. Okay. It's so curious as somebody who's never used procedural objects. That mod seems to have done everything in CS1. Like literally, no matter what question I ask, if there has been a solution for it in CS1, the answer I get to everything is yes, that has been solved by procedural objects, which naughty to me. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, I think Right Everywhere is a bit similar, but then Right Everywhere has a lot more limits. Like, one of the things you can do in CS1 that we can't do in CS2 is, I was gonna say, two things. One of them you named already. One is animating, and obviously we can't animate anything in CS2 yet, sadly. I hope that changes. But the bigger part is the buildings, and I found it very interesting because Cuboid was in my chat a week or something ago, and we were talking about the same topic. And Cuboid pointed out that one of the reasons why procedural objects for CS2 for buildings, as in adjusting the shape of them, is a lot more difficult than for CS1 is because the models are so much more detailed, right? Like if you look at the model like this and its complexity and compare it with a normal CS1 vanilla model, then obviously this has like 1,000 more triangles than anything in CS1 would have. So with that also comes that just stretching or adjusting the shape of those things is gonna bring more visual problems with it than in a game that is relatively more low-res. Oh well, ad break, I guess you can't answer during the ad break, but I'm gonna just wait for the ad break, because I find it super interesting to hear from CS1, because maybe I'm wrong with this, but in my head a lot of CS1 seems like it's where CS2 is gonna be in a few years from now. Maybe that's also ignorant and we're never gonna reach some of the same levels of customability, but I hope so, and I guess I would also assume so. Yeah, okay. What do you mean that was solved with textures in... Oh, you mean the textures that you put on top of the building? Okay, I was wondering if you mean textures as in decals being applied afterwards. But yeah, no, you mean it as actual texture in the 3D model. Yeah, see, and if that has been the case in CS1, that obviously is a gigantic problem for CS2, because we have so many more in total here that I guess you would face issues with more buildings a lot easier. Yeah, super interesting. I honestly, Nomis, I very much appreciate. I know you're not a fan of CS2. I can very much live with that, but I'm very interested in learning about more things from CS1, even though I don't plan on playing it. Since I'm so new to the Cities community, I know so little from the past. So I always appreciate your input, not really, but then you educating me about CS1 is probably the best wording of it. So appreciate it, thanks mate. Is there anything else that procedural objects done besides the adjustable buildings, moving stuff, I guess, from what you said, and animating stuff? Is there anything else you could also do on top of that? Because really, procedural objects seems like the single go-to mod for any problem ever in CS1. Here, I just seen here we have another building poking out, so we need to very carefully hide this with rocks. Oh, that is great. Of any asset, only buildings or also roads and everything? Because that is one of the things where I've been thinking about more and more why that is not a thing in CS2 yet. Because from my understanding, well, I guess that's not a thing yet because we don't have the asset editor. But one of the things I'm waiting for is that I can say I want this road, but I want to apply the following texture to it. Because we have so many good road surfaces and decals and all of that in this game. The only thing is that we have to redraw these manually so far. And as soon as the editor is there, I don't think there is anything technically stopping us from just applying any texture onto anything. Oh, that is news for me. I did not know that they lose functionality. But I guess you probably have something like we do in CS2, and you have these kind of block things as well, right? Or anything similar to that. If you don't know what this is, probably you do, because you had something similar in CS1. But basically, this small block emulates the function of an entire building. And then I have any category of building here, and I can emulate it with this small block. Because, for example, in my build here, I'm using a lot. Most of these buildings you see in this build here are unfunctional. Yeah, see, again, I'm sure you know. I'm not trying to be ignorant. I just don't know any better in CS1. But then that does not really seem like an issue, because then I guess even if you turn something unfunctional, you just use the blocks and you can turn them functional again. Because really, these blocks in CS2 are somewhat new. I think we have them for like 4 or 5 months, something like that. And before, we had these static ploppables, which obviously they allow a lot more flexibility than the zone buildings in CS2. But I want my build to be functional, right? So I could never do too much with these ploppables till we've gotten the blocks. Because now we can use those ploppables and add the blocks to them and get still a perfectly functioning building out of it. And I love it. It's such a game changer. Like this entire mine, for example, I know you said you played CS2 when it came out and tried a bit. I'm sure you hated the specialized industry. Because specialized industry in this game is horrible. Absolutely horrendous. I don't know what they did there. But now, thanks to the blocks and the resource blocks, we can just build our own specialized industry flexible. So now our specialized industry can look like this. I still hate it, right? Like, see, this is how my farms look that I can build with the blocks, right? This is a good example. I think you can build absolutely stunning farms in this game, really. I know you probably don't like CS2 so much, but you have to be able to appreciate some of the things you can do in this game as well. But then, if we're talking about actual, this is how the farms look if you just draw them down, right? Like, this has to get removed and replaced eventually. So yes, I'm super happy about that. I actually, without taking too much credit, I think I've probably been the reason for it, because I asked StarQ for them, and StarQ is the one who made all of these blocks. And StarQ had all of these wonderful blocks prior that pretty much imitate all of the zoning types we have. But then we had no blocks to imitate the specialized industry. And I asked StarQ if he can make blocks for the specialized industry. And what we've gotten is, I would argue, even better. Because we did not only get it for the specialized industry, but pretty much you have a block for every production, for every material in the game you can produce. Some of those are specialized industry, like the crude oil. Some of them are just a normal business, like the furniture. But yes, you can imitate any normal company, any specialized industry, and then these are the same but for warehouses. So you can also imitate any vanilla warehouse or storage. So yes, it's really cool, because this is all functional, right? Like, this is not using the vanilla specialized industry, but this part of the mine is indeed producing coal. This part of the mine is producing rock. It should be sand, but sand is not a resource in this game, so it produces rock instead. And yeah, that works perfectly fine. Like, all of this is functional and produces what it should produce. So for somebody liking this game, massive game changer that we've gotten those blocks. Because none of this build you're looking at right now would have been possible prior to StarQ putting out those resource blocks. Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine, because I feel exactly the same about CS1. Like, I perfectly enjoy watching CS1 streams and people to build CS1. It's just not the game I enjoy playing myself. But do I think CS1 builds are absolutely impressive and look gorgeous? Totally. In fact, even on YouTube, I love watching CS1 build series. So very cool. In fact, I remember that I asked you the last time when you were in here, I asked you about a few streamers, and I checked many of them out. I've actually surprisingly got stuck with Gasu Stranger, I think he was called. Absolutely stunning builds. I checked most of them out that you told me. Some of them I found really impressive technically, the way they built. But then, since I don't play CS1, that technical aspect of the game is not as interesting for me as in CS2. But the Gasu Stranger videos are absolutely entertaining and inspiring and great to watch, so really cool. I have not watched a video of him prior to your recommendation, so really very appreciated. And I do think we are both done with this build, decided very few things that, again, I have to reload my game for. Again, whenever I say this, I find things that are not done. But I also think I am done with streaming, because I will have to get up somewhat early tomorrow, and it's after 1 o'clock now, so I should pack my booty and get into bed really quick. Could you, because I will, the last time I literally had to go back in my VOD and try to find it, unless you're in too many Discords and don't want to join another one. I would argue my Discord is very nice and full of kind of big creators. So if you don't mind joining another Discord, I'd love if you can just put that into my Discord, because then I don't have to look for it after stream. And I will remember to check it out. If not, no problem, I understand. I can also just scroll back into the VOD afterwards, but I tend to forget sometimes. If you can fit into one more, just type !Discord in chat, and it will post you the link. Because then, yeah, I will definitely check it out if you just post it into general or something. And with that, I'm gonna send you guys on a quick road trip while I load up Twitch in the background and find somebody to raid towards. Because again, it's getting late here. I need to... Oh, actually, we were playing on half simulation the entire time without me realizing. Since the last break where I ran to the toilet real quick. But yes, thank you so much for everybody tuning in, as always, and sorry for my confusing name change. I did not choose to change name. I'm not mad about having changed name, but again, wasn't my choice, else might have warned you prior to it. But yeah, it is what it is. Wasn't possible any different. And with that, thank you so much for everybody tuning in, and I think I'm gonna send you guys over to Dava. And I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful evening and a lovely night. And again, thanks so much for tuning in. I don't stream on a schedule. If you wanna catch any of my future streams, the easiest is to join my Discord, where I ping when I go live. Otherwise, just follow me on Twitch, but again, I don't stream on a schedule, I just stream when I find the time for it. And with that, enjoy your time over at Dava, and have a nice night. Bye bye, cuties.